So you're playing Genshin, you're doing some 10 pulls, and you get 5-star Neuvillette. Now, what do you get with Neuvillette besides an otter on a Roomba? Well, Neuvillette is a catalyst-wielding Hydro user who is one of the strongest characters in the game. And that's coming from me, right? I'm somebody that I don't have Neuvillette because I don't want him, because in my opinion, he's too strong. Even if I play him how I think I would want to in a really niche team, it's still too good. Right, and I'm not saying that everybody should play that way. That's how I enjoy the game. Enjoy the game the way that you like. There is no one correct way to play Genshin. But me personally, I just don't want him because of that. But I'm still going to make some videos on him. So in this video, we're going to look at the basics of Neuvillette and how his kit works. Now, Neuvillette is one of those characters where most of his damage is going to come from his charged attacks. But first, let's look at his normal attacks. His normal attacks, he is going to be snapping, he's going to be stomping that cane because he's an old man, doing some hydro damage to the enemies, not doing physical damage without introducing shenanigans. Now, his charge attack is where the main bulk of his damage is going to come from this kit. If you hold down his charge attack, it is going to make this ring appear, and it is going to take some time to get it to fully charge. He's going to kind of float up off the ground while it's charging, and then once it's fully charged, he is going to unleash basically a hydro pump straight ahead, hitting any enemy that you spin that Roomba to. Now, you will notice that while you're doing this charge attack, his HP is going to be decreasing. That is because it uses up so much HP during his charge attacks until you hit 50%. At that point, it no longer uses up HP. So now let's look at how to decrease the amount of charge time that charge attack takes with his skill and his burst. His skill is going to do an instance of AoE hydro damage, and it is going to put these 3 little orbs on the in the overworld. Whenever you then do a charge attack with 3 of these orbs, it is going to absorb all 3 of these orbs, healing Neuvillette back up, and then allowing him to do his charge attack instantly instead of waiting for that ring to fill. And then, of course, the same thing is going to happen. It is going to decrease his HP bar as he's doing it, doing the hydro pump. Now, his burst is going to do a much larger AoE of hydro damage, but it is also going to put 6 of these orbs in the overworld. Now, whenever you do his charge attack, it's going to absorb 3, get the healing from it, do the instant charge attack just like the same before, but then it's going to allow you to do it again right after. It's going to give you 2 instances just from his burst and then another instance from his skill. So you can do 3 instantaneous charge attacks without having to wait for that ring to fill with his burst and his skill. And that's kind of it with his kit. We are going to look at his passives in just a second, but that's really it. It's going to all come from his charged attacks, and his skill and his burst allow you to skip the charge time of the charge attacks. That's it. In a sense, that's essentially it. Now, you will notice that I've left in certain parts where he was doing the charge attack, and enemies are hitting him and they're knocking him out of the air, ending the charge attacks. Even if you're in the middle of it, if an enemy hits you with enough to interrupt you, then he's not going to be able to do the charge attack. So he is susceptible to interruption. So I would say to either run a shield with him, run like Dia or something like that, because you're going to get resistance to interruption from Dia, some way to make him not get knocked off if you get hit. Now let's look at some weapons for him. Obviously, Tomb is going to be his best weapon. It is his signature. It's going to get up crit damage, which is great for him. It's also going to increase his HP, which is great for him. And then the entire thing works with the HP fluctuating, increasing and decreasing, increasing the charge attack damage. So this is just a really, really good weapon for him. It is tailored to him. Other characters can use it, but it is very much tailored to Neuvillette. If you do not have his signature weapon, you can do a couple of other things. You can use something like Widzith. It's going to be much more like a stack stick for him, where he can use the crit damage, and then he can use the elemental damage. He can't use the attack, and unless you're running him in a vape team, he can't necessarily use the EM. It will increase the damage on like a taser team or something like that, but it won't really help in a freeze team. It'll only help in a couple of certain things. So you're really rolling the dice on whether or not you're gonna be able to get the full usefulness out of this weapon. Now, another option is gonna be Sacrificial Jade if you have the Battle Pass. This is gonna get up crit rate, which you don't need a ton of. It's also gonna increase your max HP and give a little bit of EM as long as you're not on the field for more than 10 seconds. So theoretically, you can do at least 2 of the charge attacks, which take 3 seconds, as well as working in the time to like do the skill and do the burst animations. You should be able to at least get in 2 of those full charge attacks before you need to swap him off, because then your max HP goes away after 10 seconds of being on the field. So it's a little bit finicky. You do have to kind of work on the rotation a little bit, but this is also a really, really good weapon for him. And then, of course, you do have Prototype Amber, which is a craftable 4-star weapon, so you're guaranteed to get this. It's going to get up HP, and then it's going to give them a little bit of energy, and it's going to also heal the rest of your team when you use your burst, so this can kind of work with Farina to stack a little bit more fanfare points, but it's mainly the increase in the HP that's going to be really, really good for him. Now, for artifacts, his best set is going to be Marshmallow Hunter, because he can trigger it completely by himself. Most people not from Fontaine need Farina to make Marshmallow Hunter work. Neuvillette is a character that can completely do it on his own, right? Whenever you use your charge attacks, your HP goes down. Whenever you absorb the orbs, it's going to go back up. So he can continuously and reliably trigger the 4-piece set of Marshmallow Hunter. And then, of course, you're going to do like an HP Sands, a Hydro Goblet, and then like a crit rate or crit damage circlet. Most likely crit damage circlet because of all of the crit rate that you're going to be getting from Marshmallow Hunter. Now, real quick, let's look at his passives. When a party member triggers a Vaporize, Frozen, Electrocharge, Bloom, Hydro Swirl, Hydro Crystallize, basically anything to do with Hydro, on an opponent, 1 stack of this mechanic will be applied to Neuvillette. With a max of 3 stacks, each stack of this is going to increase his own charged attack damage. So running him in a team, even like a flood team, you still want to make sure that you have like Jean in there or Sheelan in there, so that way you can cause either the swirl or the crystallize reaction to make use of this passive. You just want something in there to still be able to do that, right? You don't want to run a 4 Hydro. You need to make sure that you can cause a reaction somewhere. And the other passive is that for each 1% of Neuvillette's current HP greater than 30% of max HP, he will gain a Hydro damage bonus with a max of 30% being obtained this way. So really just don't let him get into the red. And even with the charge attack taking your HP away, it'll never let you go below 50%. So you'll still be able to always get something out of this as long as you're not getting hit and going into the red. So if we go back to using Neuvillette and we start causing some reactions, you're going to see that there's just so much damage going around. We're going to be using Sucrose, we're going to be using Fischl. We're not even going to touch Yao Yao in this example. Actually, I'm just going to be using Sucrose and Fischl, and it is just going to be increasing the amount of damage, right? With Sucrose's VV Shred, with Fischl being Oz taking the field, having a little bit of Electrocharge in there, Neuvillette charge attack, causing those reactions, so that way that passive will give him an increase in charge attack damage. And you can see why he's so good, why he's so strong, because it's all through his charge attack damage, and he's just a main on-field Hydro damage dealer, and that's really good. He doesn't need vape, he doesn't need anything like that. He just does a ton of damage on his own. So that's going to be it for this video. Kuki has green hair, I have green hair that's about to be dyed to a different color, and I will see you in the next one.